Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast. This is the first official episode of the new year. So happy new year, everybody, and happy new year to my co-pilot, my co-captain, my co-host, Travis Ross. Travis, how you doing, man?
Good. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to all of our listeners. We made it through Q4, and now the decompression begins and the planning to, like we said last week, get ready for Q4 2022.
Yep. Yeah, it's just like the NFL's calendar is Super Bowl to Super Bowl, just like the WWE's calendar is WrestleMania to WrestleMania. Print on demand and e-commerce calendars are Q4 to Q4. So we're getting ready for the big game this far in advance. How was your New Year's, man? Anything fun that you did to bring in the new year? I saw that you guys, I think, just embraced the ridiculous snowstorm that we had and went sledding.
Yeah, it was cool. I posted a picture of our family. We literally, we were sitting on the couch and it was snowing and we were supposed to go to a friend's house and it was just nasty out. And so we're sitting on the couch watching television and I'm like, I don't know, like at 9:00 or something, I look over at my wife and I like, you want to go on a walk? And she's like, what? Are you crazy? It's freezing out there. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like we're not doing anything. Okay, fine. And I just put on another show or, we're just watching like Marvel stuff or I don't even remember what we were watching. And then about an hour later or an hour and a half later, I don't know, she's like, let's go sledding. Let's get the kids and go sledding. And I'm like, what? Who are you? And where's my wife? Because that is not her, but
multiverse version of Jeanette is here with me right now.
Yeah, exactly. So she took kind of my, oh, this sucks. We're not doing anything on New Year's Eve and bummer. And then she was like, well, we could do something. So we went sledding. Yeah, it was really cool. I know you guys kind of got snowed in. You almost died. You told me.
Yeah, that was fun. Very close car. We decided to go. My cousins were in town, and one of the prerequisite requests of him coming was like, I need to go shopping to get some cologne. So Friday night was the only night we had to do that. Went to Orchard Shopping Center. On the way back, roads were terrible. It was a very bad snowstorm.
It was really bad.
And spun into oncoming traffic. Thankfully, there was no traffic oncoming. It was a red light. So we were able to just kind of go with the slide and be all safe and get home an hour and a half later, which usually takes 25 minutes. It was an hour and a half. So, but then got in my other vehicle, which is more of a, I guess SUV for lack of a better term. It's just a bigger car. It does better in the snow. Went to my in-laws' house, played games and stayed the night there. And then New Year's Day, went to 5 movies in a row at the movie theater. So
insane.
It's a New Year's Day tradition with one of my nephews, and we had a group of like 8 of us this time to go do it. All of us, 5 movies one day. It's a lot of fun. It takes a special kind of person to think that it's fun, because a lot of people are like, I could do 2, maybe 1, maybe. My wife would only do 1, and she would never do 5 in one day. So, but yeah, man, it was a good holiday, good to get through it. And I mean, the snowstorm, albeit that it was massive, it was actually very welcome because the day before that, there was a just a massive fire in Colorado, in Louisville, Superior, Boulder area. Both of us know a lot of people that have homes there, that have, there's businesses that we frequent in that area.
Yep.
So it was very surreal. I was talking to my nephew whose apartment was in that area. He had to be evacuated, and he works in downtown Louisville on Main Street. And he was like, it's really weird when you are experiencing the thing that you watch on the news all the time, like the natural disaster type thing, when you're just kind of living through it. So did you know anybody that was adversely affected? Like, did you personally know anybody? I know everyone that I knew that had homes down there were able to thankfully say that their homes were still standing, but I know there was over 1,000 homes destroyed.
Yeah, I was the same. I didn't know anyone. I knew people who knew people kind of that had some damage or complete loss. But it was an absolutely crazy experience. I was actually living in Colorado Springs when the Waldo Canyon fires and then the Black Forest fires a year later happened. And
I remember those.
It was like deja vu for me just being here, because I remember, when I was down in Colorado Springs and the Waldo Canyon, I just remember those flames coming over the Front Range. And it was the same, during these, where on the way home, I kind of drove up to a high point on my way home so I could kind of look over the Louisville area. And I took some pictures, and it was very surreal, very crazy. Our shop actually in Broomfield was literally right outside the evacuation zone. So had they had it continue to spread, I mean, there was a small chance, but there was a chance that our shop could have been damaged. And I mean, that's pretty dang sobering when you think about, what could have happened and what did happen to a lot of people. It's very, 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 very sad evening. And then, like you say, the very next day, we got this great welcome snow, but by then the temperatures were down, and, it did help the firefighters, but it didn't help those people that lost their homes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it was really intense, really crazy situation that happened. And I don't know, man, it was kind of a wild way to finish a year that was not stellar for a lot of people. And for it to just end that way is crazy. So of course, thoughts and prayers to all those who are affected. If you want to know how to help monetarily, I'm sure if you Google Marshall Fire, that is the name of the fire that happened. There's a lot of opportunity to give or to get involved and try and help those. A lot of people displaced, and there's going to be a lot of rebuilding that has to happen in the next year. So there's no real easy way to transition from something so sobering and heavy. There's really not. So we're gonna take a second, and then we're gonna go to just this week's dad joke of the week.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
You follow up tragedy with humor, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe, you laugh, might as well, crying. I've done that a lot this year, so it's just gonna be fine. So we had a lot of transition, and one of my friends who is in a different job had his company go through some transition as well, and he told me that he had a coworker at his job named Celsius that recently retired at his work. So they hired a new guy named Kelvin to replace him. Yeah, he's the new temp. And that's this week's dad joke of the week. Little temperature humor for everyone out there. And someone's like, that is the guy named Fahrenheit. I don't know why the guy didn't add Fahrenheit into the joke. I don't know. Celsius, Fahrenheit, Kelvin, who knows? It's all science. So that's this week's dad joke of the week. So with that, let's go right into this week's point of interest.
This is Uncle Mike.
This is Aunt Jackie.
And you're listening to The Point of Interest.
Travis, we're going to talk about something for the point of interest that I think is super advantageous for people who might just be starting out, that maybe don't have a printer, but they do have a heat press. So why don't you tell some folks, all of the folks listening, what this week's point of interest is?
Yeah, we're just going to talk a little bit about transfers, heat press transfers. There's different options with heat press transfers, and there's different companies, obviously, but there's also different like techniques or rather, I guess techniques on how those transfers are made, which may or may not affect you as the end user. It just may be one transfer type will give you a different, some different options than another transfer type will get you. So Josiah, why don't you tell us about the one I know that you guys have used a lot over there at What For Apparel?
Yeah, we used Transfer Express. TransferExpress.com is who we have used. And, it's a Stalls company. So we had a lot of good success with Stalls. I really enjoyed, or with Transfer Express, rather. It was a really easy process. So they have some stock transfers, some stock images. You can go and design your own image, or if it's for a school or whatever. And they do a wide range of different transfers, stuff that's good for cotton, stuff that's good for 100% polyester, like jerseys, full color transfers, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that we used the most was the screen printed transfers, because a lot of what we did were, 1, 2, sometimes 3 color designs. And so you're able to upload your own artwork if you want and select the color, the size, let them know the quantity that you want. And the cool thing about Transfer Express is they will do gang sheets. So let's say that you had, 5 of this design and 6 of this design, and they can, if the designs are small enough, figure out ways to put as much of those designs on one sheet as possible, so that you're not
as long as they're the same color.
Sheets, as long as they're the same color, so you're not paying for multiple sheets. And turnaround time was great. I only had a few hiccups with them quality wise, but I mean it's very easy. It's a very easy process for the. We tried one of the full color ones, and in full disclosure, I wasn't a huge fan of the full color ones. They felt super like a sticker. They didn't feel nice. The quality wasn't great. They were kind of elastic isn't the right term for it, but it just didn't feel like a quality print necessarily. And so I wasn't a huge fan of those, but the screen print transfers were the goof proof is what they call it, so it's pretty hard to mess up, which is true. It's literally, you laid the design on the garment of your choice, and they send heat, time, temp instructions, but you press it for 4 or 5 seconds and it's on the shirt, and it's really easy. It's a hot peel. So you peel it as soon as the press comes up. Some of them are a cold peel, which is to say you just let it cool down to the touch before you peel it. But I had a lot of success with them, and I really enjoyed their company, their turnaround time. The quality was really nice. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of the full color, but that might be your thing. Whoever, if you're listening, you might try them and love them. We just didn't care for them. So that's one company, Transfer Express. So what is another one, Travis? I know FM Expressions. Tell us, you've had a little experience with those guys. Tell us about FM.
Yeah. So we had a 2-color design that we needed to have on like 300 or 350 shirts or something like that. That was kind of just a left chest. So it was pretty small. And so I knew immediately we were going to do a screen press transfer, because you could, like you said, you can gang them all up. So basically I went into Photoshop and I took the size that I was going to order from FM Expressions, and then I created a template or a palette, and then just put as many in at the size that I wanted on that template, which meant I had to cut a lot of stuff out when it came in.
There's lots of weeding there. You're just cutting around the excess space. Yeah,
you're just cutting around that, and basically making each individual transfer for that left chest. But the one thing that that FM Expressions, I don't know if Transfer Express does this, you're only allowed to select their predetermined colors. So they have a brown, a red, a black, a white, and orange. And they have so many colors, but there's not a lot of variation with those colors. So if you want, they will, for an extra fee, match your color. You can give them a Pantone color, and you say, hey, the red, I want the red like this. And so our experience with them actually required that. They sent it out to us, and there was a quality issue. And so they had to redo it. But while they were redoing it, I was like, hey, can you also do a Pantone match? Because I didn't like the color of red that was on this original one. So they were able to do that. They have several different types that you mentioned the goof proof for Transfer Express. They have like a vintage. They call it an athletic. The first time I got the vintage, but since we were putting it on black, you could kind of see through it a little bit, or since it was vintage, it was kind of had a little bit, it made it darker. Kind of. Like, so the white was not white, it wasn't popping. And so when I ordered it again, because they messed the first one up, there was a registration issue. It looked like it had a drop shadow. And I was like, there's no drop shadow in this. And they tested it and said, yep, you're right. We'll do it again. I said, can you make it not vintage, but athletic, which is like opaque, so the white really is white. Especially if it's going on a dark garment, you might consider that. But we loved the quality. The customer was pleased. It was very easy once we cut them out. Just bam, bam, bam. Like you say, it's super quick, 5 seconds. Peel the thing and set it aside. Do another one, over and over and over again. So,
I would say
that worked great.
One thing I found for Transfer Express too was just trying to make sure that you're lining it up correctly. I mean, that does take a little bit of time to make sure that you're not, throwing it on crooked. And with Transfer Express, thankfully, the backs of all of their stuff are grid paper. So it's kind of, you can find a straight edge, line up, make sure it looks good. We figured out our own process to make sure that it was on there. But there were, a handful, a dozen maybe or less that, the person running it would press it and then pick it up and be like, well, that's crooked. And each design's different. If it's more of a square design, if it's whatever it is, you just got to figure out the right placement of it. So I think that's one thing that you'll have to experiment with. And it's not hard to dial in, but that is one thing that you'll have to make sure that you're getting right every time. So it looks consistent, especially if you're doing multiple shirts of the same, like your left chest type thing. So, the next one is that you've mentioned again was Supacolor, SUPA. COLOR, Supacolor. So tell us about Supacolor and your experience with them.
So Supacolor is a company that's kind of new in the last year or two, at least to my knowledge. And they do not tell you exactly what the process is, but I am 99% sure it's DTF, which we've talked about on the show, direct to film.
Yeah.
And so they allow you to do full color transfers. I'm not sure. I was actually interested to know. I don't know how Transfer Express is doing their full color. I wonder if it's also DTF. I have no way of knowing that. But anyway, Supacolor, the way they do it, and there's a little bit of a difference. They charge per transfer. You cannot gang. So on their website, once you have to get approved for an account and all that. Once you have an account, you can go in and you can see, okay, anything up to this size will be this much for these quantities. And the lowest quantity you can get, which is really cool, you can get as low as 10. So that's the minimum quantity. Whereas,
that is cool.
You have to do like 6 or 7 sheets with FM expressions. So, and that's actually expensive. I had to do, I think I needed 10 sheets to get what I needed with all of mine on FM expressions. And I ended up just going up to the next tier because it was so much less than getting 10 sheets. I ended up getting 16 and it was less. But Supacolor, you just pay per transfer. They're not going to put them all in the same. So it makes it easy when you're actually applying them because they're all individual. You don't have to cut them out or anything like that. And they're all the same size. But yeah, they have price breaks as you get more and more of those transfers. They are DTF in and of itself is kind of it's heavier print. It feels heavy, but what we've used it for is some like sleeve stuff that customer had a logo that was a full color logo that they wanted on the sleeve. And we're like, well, it'll be a lot easier if we just, use these. And so we've had good experience with them. They, again, same type of thing. I think it was like for the ones we use were like 7 seconds at 340 or something, I don't remember. And it's a hot peel. It's very simple. And yeah, we had really good experience with them. So if you need full color, it might be an option for you. I think the reason we're telling you this is, to your point, Josiah, at the beginning of this point of interest is, you if you have stuff that's like a brand and you're selling the same type of thing over and over, you don't need DTG for that. You don't need it.
Yeah.
It's overkill. You can just get a stack of these sheets if they're the same thing over and over. There's no reason to not go with, Transfer Express or a Super Color, some type of DTF or something like that. It may be kind of expensive if you're not doing, if you're not buying in bulk, but it's still doable, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And you just need a heat press. That's it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. So if you're starting out and you're selling a lot of the same thing, it's a good way. If you've sold something on Amazon, it's like Travis said, it's a brand, or you've been outsourcing it and it's hitting and it's selling a lot and you're having success. An easy way to bring that in house is transfers. If you have, for us, the reason we used it was because one of our clients had so much volume and he was selling the same thing, multiples of the same thing, and had sleeves and backs and all that kind of stuff. That saved us so much time. Printing sleeves on a DTG printer is not always the easiest thing to do. Yeah, and but yeah, definitely saved us a lot of time. So check out those sites. Let us know what you guys think. If you guys have another idea or another transfer supply that you've been using, let us know. We want to know. We always like to hear what's going on out there that's new that we might not know about. So let us know. So with that, we're going to get out of this point of interest and we're going to move into the main event.
It's a main event. Talk about your prints. We're sitting on the fence. This is a main event.
Now, for those listening, we might move through this a little quicker than normal just because there's so much content, so much we want to tell you guys about. And we're already at the 20-minute mark, and we don't want to necessarily keep you here for an hour and a half, as much as you would love to listen to our voices during that time and spend that time with Travis and I. We want to respect everybody's time in this process. So we're going to go through some stuff here in this main event, and we'll have it all in the show notes so you can go back and revisit, give you a reason to re-listen to the episode as well. So what we want to talk about today is must-have Etsy apps for 2022. So Etsy is a very popular and growing marketplace to sell. I feel like, up into maybe the last couple of years, it's kind of been how Amazon was in the beginning, kind of the wild, wild west. Like you just do whatever you want, sell whatever you want. But there's been a lot of growth on Etsy. A lot of people experiencing success on Etsy. So we'll talk about some apps, go down, a rabbit hole of apps that might be helpful for Etsy should you be selling on the Etsy platform. And not only that, I will say some of these might have advantages to use for other platforms as well, not necessarily just specifically Etsy.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the beauty of some of these. They do kind of cross-pollinate with other channels, so you can get a lot more use out of them if you're, than if you're just selling on Etsy. But they could also be very useful if you are just selling on Etsy. So let's dive in. Josiah, what's that first one?
Yeah, let's do it. So the first one is erank.com. Now, we had a guest on recently to talk about this. She was really pretty. It was my wife a couple episodes back talking about eRank and her success in using it. And, we're not divulging any proprietary information. Obviously, eRank is a website that anyone can access. Which is it's really advantageous if you are using this to sell on Etsy. Now, it does seem like eRank is tailored specifically to the Etsy marketplace, and as Madeline talked about, it does help what customers on Etsy are searching for as far as keywords and trends that are happening on Etsy. It also has the ability to kind of show you where there's less competition, where there's more competition, and of course, if there's something that's trending and there's not a lot of competition, that's where you want to go. Kind of, it's kind of the common sense approach to, hey, there's less people selling this, but there's more people looking for it. I want to go that way. So eRank seems to be, I've never used it, but Madeline swears by it.
Yeah. I had heard about it before, but after I've seen, Madeline's success and hearing her talk about it, it's something that we're definitely going to look at in 2022, because we do, list a lot of our things that we have on Amazon, which is the majority. It's all of our things. We list a lot of it on Etsy. And so I just think, obviously keywords and tagging are huge focuses. Like, I mean, it's interesting when you look through just our episodes, and we've talked about this a little bit. Every time we talk about Etsy, or if we talk about keywords, those are the highest listened to or highest downloaded podcasts. And I think that's just, everyone feels like this whole keyword thing, SEO stuff is so like, it's such a enigma. But so tools like this that are relatively inexpensive can really open up your eyes to things that maybe you hadn't seen before. It can take you in directions in your business that you didn't, think you were going to go to, different niches that, you just find as you're doing research and stuff. I mean, obviously eRank is specifically for Etsy. There's a lot of other tools that do the exact same thing for different marketplaces. There's Merchant Words, that is primarily for Amazon. There's what's Neil Lassen's
Merchant Former?
Merchant Former, which is for merch by Amazon. I mean, it's all kind of that same thing where you're basically giving the tool something to start with, and then you're just going down rabbit holes, finding different things to go, oh, well, what about this? And then what about this? And you keep going until you find that thing that has, low search or high search volume, but like low competition. And I mean, it's beautiful. I was doing this with, I remember when I was doing this with Google AdWords, when I was building websites in like 2010, 2009, I was trying to find search terms in Google that had a lot of demand, but there wasn't a lot of like websites out there that had that content. And then I would build a site around it. So, I mean, it's a very broad, or I mean, everybody's kind of doing this. But tools like this make it a lot easier for you. So check out erank.com. There's some pricing we can give you. Josiah, you want to give them that?
Yeah. So there is a free plan for eRank if you want to give it a shot. So they have, of course, 3 plans: free, basic, pro. And you can go to their website. You can go to erank.com/plans to kind of see everything that each plan offers. So their free plan is, of course, free. Basic is $5.99 a month, and the pro account is $9.99 a month. So like Travis said, that's really inexpensive for the quality that this can add, or the advantage this can give you when looking at the keywords and how to get your stuff more visible. So I think it's an investment that will pay off pretty easily. So go ahead and check that out. I think you would be, if you are selling on Etsy, I think it's definitely a tool to give a shot. And again, at most it's $10 a month. So I think it's an awesome deal. The next app is dropspace.co. Travis, tell everyone a little bit about dropspace.co.
So dropspace.co is kind of it's an image editing tool. I don't know a whole lot about it. I do know that it'll batch process, like remove backgrounds. So it can do that in a batch type way. So you can have a bunch of images and take the background out of a ton of images. So currently the way I do that type of thing is Photoshop, but I have to do it individually. So this, it uses like computer algorithms and all that, and it identifies what the main thing is and what the background is. Right. And then it'll just do a ton at the same time. I know it'll do some other stuff too. It'll you can do some editing. In what else does it do, Josiah?
Yeah, so you can do image editing. You can correct images, clean it up resolution wise, that kind of stuff. Optimize the image for the marketplace that you're wanting to post it to, and you can export the file that you eventually edit and create. That file you can export out as well. So I think it's an awesome tool, especially like you say, if you don't have Photoshop, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick way to do it. Another one that I use now. This jobspace.co seems a little bit more advanced than I usually just go to. If I, for instance, the interview stuff, when we have interviews, the photos of the guests that they send us, I drop into remove.bg, and it's literally just drop the photo, removes the background, export it, you're done. It's super simple. It's free. You can pay for like high res images, which I do when we have guests, so it looks good on your screen as you're listening to it, so you can see the guests and all of their beauty. Because we have, some good looking folks have come on this show. I'm just saying. So yeah, there's 3 different plans that you're looking at here for dropspace.co. There's a free plan, of course, so you can process up to 40 images for free, get a gigabyte of storage, and batch processing on the free plan. So, and commercial use is included on that, so you can use it on Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, whatever.
And that's the last thing I would say about the reason we included this is because yes, we're talking about Etsy apps, but if you want to do, if you want to start selling on Amazon, one of the rules is that your first image in Amazon has to have a complete white background or / transparent background. And so this can be an easy way to kind of help you transition from Etsy into Amazon. And then of course, to your point, you can also use it to remove that background and then take that image, since it has no background now, you could put another background on it if you are on Etsy or set it in a certain scene or,
Right.
So there's a lot of things you can do with a tool like this, and you just, it may be something to have in your arsenal as you're creating mock-ups and things like that.
Yeah, 100%. So there is that free plan. Then there has a pro plan for $7 a month, unlimited images, unlimited storage, batch processing 5 megabytes per image. And then the plus plan is $20 a month. So that's kind of a steep jump there from pro to plus. But again, if that's something, if you don't have Photoshop or you're looking for a quick editing tool and that you can use for whatever platform you're wanting to sell on, this might be a good thing to check out, because I know we had a whole point of interest once of Photoshop alternatives. And while I wouldn't say this is necessarily a complete alternative, it's a quick and easy way to kind of do some basic functions that you wouldn't have to buy Photoshop. And then in that case, you're using, $5 of a $50 software, if that makes sense, whatever that number is. So I think that's what jobspace.co could be used for.
Yeah. So like you could, for instance, you could use that, and you could also have your Canva, account that you can like drag this thing that you just took the background out into the Canva, mock-up that you're doing or whatever. Yeah. So there is a lot of versatility that you can create through using different kinds of tools and, together.
Yeah. Yep. So the next app is Outfy, outfy.com. This one is kind of cool. I didn't know about this necessarily when we sat down, an hour ago. I didn't know this existed. So outfy.com is cool. It can help automate your social channels, which I think is pretty cool. You can choose a product in your Etsy store and push it up to 6 social channels. This is an app that does more than just integrate with Etsy. It integrates with a lot of different platforms out there, including, Shopify, Etsy, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Squarespace, eBay, Ecwid, all kinds of stuff. So I think this would be advantageous regardless of where you're selling. So what do you know a little bit about Outfy, Travis?
Once you connect your social channels, you have a couple of options with it, and you can use a planner, and basically what it'll do is it'll take your product on Etsy and then create a social media post based on that thing with a link back to your store. So, and you can schedule this. So you could like go in and go, okay, this week I want to really focus on my t-shirts, my women's V-necks or whatever. And so we're just going to do a bunch of women's V-necks this week, or the next week we're going to focus on something else. Or you can use they call it the autopilot, and you basically just make a few settings in Outfy. You basically just, here are the the things that I want it to say and do, or at least do. And then Outfly will actually post. It'll just randomly select products in your Etsy store and just automatically post them to your different social media channels. So obviously, this is not a complete social media replacement for good content and engaging content, because nobody wants to go to a social media channel. It's just a bunch of products. This is supplementing. This is supplementing your already existing social media marketing strategy. But it's a really cool way to supplement it, to point people directly to things that they can buy. It's really cool.
Yeah. I like that point there. You could probably use it to, you would know, every Wednesday I'm going to have a product post that Outfy is just going to push for me, or Wednesday and Friday, but Monday, Tuesday, or whatever that looks like, I'm going to craft the post, be more engaging, more personable, and I can, do it that way. So I think that's a good point, where you don't want to just have this kind of take over completely, because you won't get a lot of traction if all your channel is just 100% product placements and you're trying to push it on people. But for this particular one, there is no free plan. Sad day. So, but the starter is, so you can do monthly versus annually. You can choose what you want to do. You save a little bit of money when you choose the annual plan, of course. But for the sake of this podcast, we'll talk monthly price. So they have a starter, a pro, an ultimate, and an enterprise. And for the starter is $15 a month. You get, for post types, you get product pictures, collages, and GIFs, or GIFs, as I've been told it's properly pronounced, which I think is crazy. It's not peanut butter. It's a moving image. Automated posts, you get product pictures, collages, and GIFs again. For Pro, for $30 a month, you get everything in the starter plan, but then they add videos and promotions. And so the ultimate, same as Pro plan, but you get videos on the automated posts. And enterprise, you actually get it all.
Well, yeah, you can actually, on the ultimate plan, you can actually tie in 2 Facebook accounts, 2 Instagrams, 2 Pinterest. So if you have multiple things that you want to, tie to this, you could, in other words, you could use it for 2 different brands, and have one account that you just have one scheduling for both brands. And, if you have multiple Etsy stores or something like that, you can also use this for your brands.
Yep. And on the enterprise plan, you get up to 5 of those. So
cool.
The enterprise will get you a little bit more if you have even more brands to work with. So Travis, what is the next app, the must-have app for Etsy sellers in 2022?
The next one is referralcandy.com. Yeah. And this is an interesting app. I don't think it works well unless you have an actual audience to market it to. And so consider that. Consider if you have, the audience. And if you're not building an audience, perhaps once you hear about this app and you're like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing, maybe it'll help you kind of get off your butt and start creating an audience. I mean, I'm speaking to myself right here, guys. But yeah, so it works best if you have an audience to market it to. But basically what it does, it provides a very easy way to encourage your followers or the people, your audience, to share your products through affiliate promotions. So basically you can choose a product and then you can create a promotion around it or an affiliate around it, to where you send out an email or some type of, or maybe even on your Instagram channel or wherever, you create something that says, hey, check this out, this product. Everybody who sells it is going to get either cash, and who doesn't like cash? Or you can get a discount at our store. You can do a percentage or a price discount, or you can even do custom gifts. So you can do all of these things, and it tracks it all. You can see who you owe money to. You can do instant payouts and all of these things. And it's basically like you're using an affiliate marketing process with actual physical goods. So it's really kind of cool. And so, hey, I just got this shirt. I love this shirt. This is such a cool shirt. It's amazing. And then I get an email that says, hey, if you share this with your friends and they buy it, you're going to make $5 for every shirt you sell. oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
know all of my friends would love this. They send an email, and they sell 5 of them for you, and you pay 25, but you just got 125 in sales or whatever your prices are. So you get the idea. There's some real cool economies of scale here when you're able to do that with a lot of people. It can really go far.
Yep. So their pricing plan, they have a 30-day free trial, where it's $49 a month plus commission. So commission would be, if you are, that's dependent on your monthly sales, right? Yeah. So if you're doing, let's say 7,000 in monthly sales, first 1,000, the commission rate is 5%, $7. So the more you sell, the lower that commission rate goes. But that's included in that monthly price. And then the enterprise plan billed annually, which is wild. It's $4,000 a month. But I mean, again, that's when if you're just moving and shaking, you have a huge audience, you're an influencer, you're using this just to get stuff, cooking and all that kind of stuff. That's probably your plan. Most people for first go, obviously, are going to be with that $49.99 a month plan.
Sure. Yeah. You need to be selling $200,000 a month to really afford that enterprise plan. But yeah, on their site, they talk about how if you want the enterprise plan, we need to talk to you first. And exactly. There's a demo required. But you're going to get basically, the white glove service for that. But yeah, I think to try your 30 days and then go your $49.99 monthly or $49 a month monthly. The thing that we kind of did some basic math and at a 2% conversion rate for the things that you're selling, or the things that you 2% of your people actually make a sale for you. You need to be at about $3,000 to $4,000 a month in sales for you to recoup that $49 a month. But after that, it really does, really can make you a lot of money as you're continually growing your marketing and growing your sales, organically, and you're putting more and more of these opportunities for your people to make money on your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next app is etsyonsale.com. Now, this is also an interesting,
really cool app. Really
app
cool
and website that is out there. Travis, talk us through a couple of the features, the multi-tools as they refer to them, that etsyonsale.com can provide.
Yeah, so they have 4 main tools that are kind of, you can mix and match. You basically, and Josiah will talk about it in a second, but they have a credit system for their payments, so you can kind of mix and match this stuff, to kind of create your own tool, if you will. And so maybe you just want one, maybe you want all 4. But the first one is a sales event manager. And so you can basically place all or just part of your shop items on sale with just one step on this tool, and it'll automatically do that in Etsy. You can also schedule sales for the future. You can set the duration, all of the percentage off, the dollar off, whatever, all of that stuff, you can do that. And then your original prices and photos are, so if you change the photos, all of your prices and photos are immediately changed back at the end of the sale via this tool. And then also your items are promoted on their site. So Etsy on Sale actually has a seller side and a retail buyer side. So people can come there and go, well, what's on sale on Etsy? Well, let me search, see if that one cool thing that I've been looking for, somebody's selling it at a discount. And they'll put your sale on their site for this. And then you can also manage multiple Etsy shops with this one Etsy on Sale account. So you can use that sales manager for multiple Etsy accounts if you have them. So that's really cool. So then you've got a couple other tools. Tell them about the auto renew tool, Josiah.
Yeah, so for auto renew, that's something you can do on Etsy already in the back end. You can do it to automatically or to manually renew, and you pay I think 20 cents to renew it, and that just kind of helps that product, get back into people in front of people's eyes. If it's been listed for a while, you can renew it and just kind of refreshes the whole thing. So you can, with EtsyOnSale.com, you can schedule your items, whatever items you'd like, your 5 most popular items, to renew each day. You can renew the oldest items in your shop every hour or every day, or you can renew at a random time. Let's say that at 2 a.m. you want your stuff to just renew because on the other side of the world, your item is very popular. So who knows? But yeah, you can schedule it and automate it in frequency. When you do it on Etsy, you're doing it right then and there, and there's no scheduling possibility. So I think that's a cool advantage as well, to be able to kind of map that out, or when you want certain things to renew. And you can also, on all of these features, you can manage multiple Etsy shops from one EtsyOnSale.com account. So that's also nice. You can kind of just manage if you're owning or managing multiple shops. It's kind of a one-stop shop to do that. So
the thing about auto renew is, you can set it in the back end of Etsy to auto renew every 3 or 4 months or whatever, that it just automatically does it. But what this does, every time you do that, Etsy's thinks it's a new product, or the algorithm treats it differently. And that's why they've created this tool. So it kind of, like you were saying, it pushes it back up to the top. So you can, if you have enough sales, and it might make sense to keep pushing this back up and back up and back up. Just so people are absolutely always seeing it, and Etsy's always viewing it as fresh content to display for people. So it makes a lot of sense. And you can, do it with a few products or with a bunch of products, and you really have a lot of options there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Travis, tell them about the tag tool that Etsy on Sale can provide.
Yeah. It's basically a bulk tag editor. So you can, go to, let's say you have a bunch of, hats or something like that are all basically the same. Maybe they all have, at least some basic stuff on them that is the same, and you want to use the same tags. You can select all of them, go in there, and just bulk edit all of the tags that you want for all of them. Maybe, you're only going to do a few. You can add, you can replace all of them, or you can replace just a few of them, whatever. It just makes it a lot easier than having to go into every single, I think we have a coffee mug that we have coffee mugs that have state designs on them. So that's 50, we would have to open up and change them, and close it, and open up, change it. You can do it all at once. So that's a really nice time saver with that bulk editing for your tags. And then the last one is the photo backup and restore.
Which I think is really cool. So new listings and photos that are listed on your Etsy account are automatically detected, discovered, and backed up. So your full-size photos, all your photos, that stuff will be secured, encrypted, and backed up to multiple secure Google data centers that they implement on their back end. You can restore any photo to a listing on Etsy at any time. You can download your photos back to your computer at any time. It can protect against hard drive failure. It has ransomware, and it protects against the viruses that hold on to your data, and it can protect accidental deletion on your computer or Etsy listing manager. So in the event that let's say something gets deleted, or I would think even if your Etsy account got suspended, you would still be able to access EtsyOnSale.com. I'm not sure, but to have the ability to go get your photos back, or if something gets accidentally deleted, you can restore that listing. If something happens to it, all of your data is backed up with these guys, which is very, very advantageous because it gives you peace of mind. So it just kind of is a fail-safe, a CYA measure, where if something were to happen that you aren't really have the forethought to see, this app can definitely help you recoup some of the images and collateral that you've used to create these listings. So I think it's a really, really, really cool app, and a really cool tool that they've been able to implement. As Travis said, they run on credit systems. So basically you pay $10 for 10 credits. And to give you an idea, all of these tools that we've talked about, for one sales event, they will charge you 4 credits. For a bulk tag change, if you're changing all the tags in your store, it's 1 credit. For a month worth of auto renew feature, 5 credits. And for 1 month of the photo backup and restore, it's also 5 credits. So and when you sign up, you're given 5 free credits if you go and sign up today.
And they do have, I mean, you said 10 credits for $10. It's $1 per credit. They do have like
tiers, they have more.
So,
Yep.
So their best package is 100 credits for $25. So you get it for a quarter a credit. So I mean, if you're going to use a lot of these features, it may make sense for you just to spend the $100 and get as many credits as you can, because one sales event for 4 credits, you might want to schedule out 10 sales events. So there's 40 credits right there. But yeah, a lot of options, and just it's very cool because, like I said, you can kind of create your own app, if you will. And which things are you going to use, which things you're not going to use, and then you can use them via the credit system as you need them. Like maybe you don't need to bulk tag change anything, but 2 months from now you realize, oh, I need to do that. You can just use it because you've already got credits or whatever. So it's a cool, I really thought that was a cool one. I mean, there's a couple really cool apps. That was one of my favorite anyway.
Yeah. So the other one is, so the next app is we kind of grouped it into a group of apps that do similar functionality, which is email marketing softwares. So you're going to have to help me with it. I keep calling it Aweber. That's clearly not what it is. Aweber. Aweber. Siskel and Eber. I don't know what's happening. Aweber, MailChimp, ConvertKit, Constant Contact. There's lots out there that will help you to do this. But email marketing is huge. If you're not implementing it, it can definitely make sure that you're getting front of mind of your former customers. If you have new stuff coming out, or even if you released cool informational blogs about whatever niche you happen to be selling in that your customer would be interested in, this would definitely work. I think it would go hand in hand with like a referral candy as well, that software, so that you can get people aware of the fact that you're doing some affiliate sales, offering them incentive to pass on the information. So I've used MailChimp before, Travis. What do you use in email marketing, or what have you used in the past that seemed to be useful?
I've used Aweber back many moons ago. I used Aweber. It was my first one that I used. More recently, I've used GetResponse. My wife had a blog she was doing for a long time, and we used it for her. We also used GetResponse when we were doing the Rocky Mountain Reseller Conference. GetResponse is a really relatively inexpensive one, and I had really good results. It's pretty easy. I mean, the thing about these, there's so much functionality in these things, to really use them, or to really not get confused. You really kind of got to get into those tutorials and understand what they're trying to say with the different things. But I mean, you can create auto campaigns. So when somebody buys something from your website, it automatically starts a campaign where, over the course of the next few months or whatever, it just drips, emails to them. And then, like you said, to really get the most out of some of the tools we were talking about, particularly, what was it? The referral candy. You really do need an email list, or you're going to be the most successful if you get an email list. And I have heard, and I don't know if forgive me if I'm talking like anything that's against terms of service. I'm not sure that it is. I have heard that Etsy they're okay with you contacting their customers outside of their ecosystem. I could totally be wrong. And if I am, I really apologize. I'm not trying to lead anybody down a dark path, but Google that. Okay. Cause I didn't do it. So before you do that, but I have heard some people talking about, remarketing to Etsy clients and, using an email marketing software to where they collect the emails and then they remarket to everybody that's bought on their site. So I could be totally wrong. It looks like I saw your Google hands kind of go towards your keyboard. I'm assuming you went there. So what did you find out? Did you find out anything?
I'm still looking? I don't know that I necessarily typed in the right thing. I'm getting some stuff about retargeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see. Oh, yeah, Google it. We'll do our own research. I tried to see if I could find something quick. It's a road wife story, is why Travis calls me his Google. But maybe one day when we have a paywall, we'll tell you those stories, as well as give our opinions on other things other than POD, like movies or music. We'll see. If you guys are interested in that kind of content, let me know. Yeah, whiskeys. Live from, oh man, I just blanked the name of that whiskey bar we went to. William Oliver's.
William Oliver's. It's one of those two.
Is it? Oh no. Yeah. Well, whatever. We'll Google that too. So that wraps up the must-have apps for Etsy sellers in 2022. Travis, anything else about this main event before we go to the outro?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I always say no, I don't think so, and then I talk for another 5 minutes. But
I'm timing.
That's kind of the way I could do. But I mean, this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's a ton of different apps on there. We wanted to focus on Etsy because we were thinking about E-Rank and how cool that tool is, and then we just kind of found some of these other tools, and we're like, you could really do. You could make a lot of freaking money on Etsy, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. And so, I mean, I was doing some of my my 2021. I was looking at all of our revenue, and Etsy's very small in our revenue as far as like all the things that we do. And I really feel like it could be so much more. So I think that's going to be one of our 2022 goals is to let's explore what we can do with Etsy. I really think it really came on during the pandemic, in 2020, it really hit, and it hasn't slowed down. I know a lot of people that have done really well on it. Well, your wife, being one, and a lot of other people. So don't sleep on Etsy. And if any of these tools sound intriguing to you, we don't have affiliates for any of them. They're just cool tools that we found and thought, hey, this seems like it might help somebody out there. So yeah, that's really it. Excited to hear kind of other people's ideas. If you have an Etsy tool that is really awesome, please share it in our Facebook group. That would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know. Like Travis said, we kind of just fell down a rabbit hole here looking at different apps, starting at E-Rank and so found some cool stuff out there that we wanted to share with you guys. So thank you for listening. As always, we're just about at an hour, which is, I told you we didn't want to get to an hour and a half. So I've kept my promise, which is a win. So thank you guys again. Travis mentioned the Facebook group. I don't know that our links are necessarily fixed, but you can go to facebook.com/group/printondemandcast to join the conversation. If you hate social media, I don't blame you. info@printondemandcast.com is where you can email us as well with any questions or anything else you'd like us to cover that's not print on demand related like Ted Lasso or Cobra Kai, which we talk about in our free time. So, might as well talk about it on the podcast and a bonus episode of some sort. So you can reach us there as well. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, you can leave us a 5-star review and give us some feedback of what you'd like to hear, topics, what you love, your favorite dad joke, anything like that. We'd love to hear from you guys. Again, on Spotify, they are now allowing you to rate podcasts. So you can give us a star rating of your choice, 5. And we will
find. I went there. I went to Spotify and tried to find where I could do that. You're going to have to show me off air.
So so
how to do that.
You just go to the page itself of our podcast. And
was it in the app or in online?
No, it's on the app that I've found.
Okay, maybe that was where
at the Print on Demand Cast page here, right at the top there, you can see there's a little 5-star.
Oh, okay.
It's right there. If you click that, you can give it a rating.
Ding, 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 ding. Cool.
Yes. Okay. And then, so please do that as well. It's new to Spotify, which I think is cool. You can't leave an actual text review, but you can give us a rating of your choice, 5, and we'll greatly appreciate it. We're also on all kinds of different platforms: Google Podcast, Stitcher, Anchor, wherever there's podcasts. The PODcast is there for you as always. So with that, for Travis, I'm Josiah, and we'll see you next week right here on the Print on Demand Cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.